What's up guys, I'm Jason from Kommander MTG and we're going to talk about 7 cards you should play in your Rakdos Lord of Riots Commander deck. I polled my community and they chose Rakdos for this month's Commander Spotlight. I've had my eye on this commander for a long time and now that it's been reprinted and Ravnica Remastered, it's time to build this bad boy. I spent several hours playtesting this deck and found 7 cards you must play if you decide to build it. Tons of chip damage, big demons for very little mana, and it is just so fun to play. So what's our game plan with Rakdos Lord of Riots? He's a 4 mana 6/6 with flying and trample that can't be cast unless an opponent has lost life this turn. He also has the ability that creature spells cost 1 less to cast for each 1 life our opponents have lost this turn. So what we want to do is play out cards that ping all of our opponents or drain them. Cast Rakdos, then use those direct damage dealers to ramp out massive demons. With all these flying demons and their amazing abilities, we'll take over the skies and kill our opponents before they can even react. So first we have to deal damage to our opponents so that we can cast Rakdos and get our game plan online. There are a ton of great ways to accomplish this with cards like Aspiring Champion, Sanctum of Stone Fangs, and Thermal Alchemist, but my favorite is Keen Duelist. This 2 mana 2/2 comes down early and has the ability at the beginning of your upkeep, you and target opponent each reveal the top card of your library. You each lose life equal to the mana value of the card revealed by the other player. You each put the card you revealed into your hand. Now this isn't the most consistent card, and sure, Sanctum of Stone Fangs and Thermal Alchemist are more reliable, but I don't always play Commander to be Mr. Reliable. I play to have fun, and I do that by going big. This deck is stacked with big demons we plan to cast at a reduced price. This means when we flip one of those demons, we'll deal big damage to the chosen opponent, but the cherry on top is the card draw. Since this deck can easily drop 2 to 5 demons in a single turn, we need consistent card draw to keep the demons coming and the damage rolling. Imagine having Keen Duelist and Rakdos in play. It's your upkeep and you choose the opponent you like the least that also doesn't play huge spells like you. You reveal the top card of your library to reveal a Demon Lord Belzenlock. Your opponent loses 6 life due to Belzenlock CMC, and you take whatever damage your opponent flipped. You then draw Demon Lord Belzenlock, and guess what? Rakdos sees the 6 damage we dealt to that opponent. Therefore, our creature spells now cost 6 mana less this turn, and we can play out Demon Lord Belzenlock we just drew for only 2 black mana. See the upside Keen Duelist can have in your game? It may not be as consistent, but man, the ceiling for this card is so high, you have to play it. Next is a fun card that just adds so much tension to the game, Sower of Discord. This 6 mana 6/6 flying demon has, as it enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of the chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. There's so many ways to play this card, and that's why I love it. Are you playing against a Pillow Fort enchantment deck that has Propaganda, Ghostly Prison, and Sphere of Safety in play? Good. Choose them, then choose the guy without any flyers and smack no flyer Timmy with your huge demons and take them both out. Are you playing against a Kalia deck that seems to have it out for you for playing more demons than them? Good. Pick them and yourself to prevent them from swinging at you, but be careful if you pick yourself. That could backfire so easily, but it would be hilarious. Not only is it a 6/6 flying demon we can potentially cast for 2 black mana with Rakdos, but it adds interesting and difficult decision-making moments to your game, and that really spice up the table dynamic and make it really fun, and hopefully a short-lived game. Next up is Bloodthirster, a 5 mana 6/6 with flying and trample that has, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap it. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. Bloodthirster also can't attack the player it already attacked this turn. So how does this card work? Well, it's pretty simple. If you deal combat damage with Bloodthirster, it untaps, you get another combat phase, then you swing it at a different player. Then if you deal combat damage to them, untap it again, and then attack the third player. The fact that this has flying and trample on a 6/6 body means you're gonna get damage through pretty often, and with only paying 1 red mana for him most of the time, he synergizes really well with Rakdos. It's not uncommon to swing out with both Rakdos and Bloodthirster, then have Bloodthirster smack your other 2 opponents in the face as well. The cost reduction for your creature spells that turn could be as much as 24 if all the damage connects, which is more than enough to cast your other demons for next to nothing. I love this card. It's a huge threat, gets damage through easily, it synergizes with Rakdos extremely well, and it features the 40k army I play in the art. See these little guys here? Those are Grey Knights, the coolest and most secretive force of Space Marines. Just look at my awesome Grey Knights. They would smoke this Bloodthirster. Anyways, Bloodthirster is awesome. He gives you big damage, you'll love it. Next is Herald of Slaanesh, a 3-mana 2/2 demon with demon spells you cast cost 2 less to cast, as well as other demons you control have haste. This card gives us some redundancy for Rakdos' ability reducing the cost of our demons, but the haste is the main reason we play this card. Rakdos does an amazing job at filling our board with big demons for very little mana, and what we don't want to do is just pass the turn. Our opponents will freak the F out and board wipe or pick away our toys one by one, and we don't want that. Enter Herald of Slaanesh. Imagine we have the same scenario earlier where Keen Duelist and Rakdos are in play. Keen Duelist's ability revealed Steamlord Bells Unlock, causing 6 damage to an opponent. We can then play out Demon Lord Bells Unlock, Sower of Discord, Bloodthirster, and finally Herald of Slaanesh for only 6 mana. Thanks to Herald of Slaanesh, all of our demons have haste and we can swing in with huge damage out of nowhere. With Sower of Discord's ability alongside Bloodthirster hitting every opponent at the table, you're bound to take at least one player out of the game, putting you in a prime position to win. Such great support for this deck from the 40k Chaos deck, and I love it. Next up is one of our win cons, Liliana's Contract. This 5-mana enchantment has when it enters the battlefield, you draw 4 cards and lose 4 life. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. Like I said earlier, Rakdos can empty our hand in a single turn, so the ability to draw 4 cards is awesome, but meeting the win condition of this card is so easy to do in this deck. Sometimes the game has gone on for too long and you want to have a way to end it without combat damage. This is it. It's not uncommon to have 4+ different demons in play at a time, so this card is always going to be a threat that has to be dealt with, or else card draw and a win con, it's an auto include for any demon deck. Next up is a new card from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Bloodletter of Aclazotz, a 4-mana 2/4 with flying vampire demon that has, if an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Holy shit. This is an amazing ability in a deck that wants to deal constant chip damage with pingers or drain, alongside flying in with huge demons every single turn. Imagine just having Rakdos, Bloodletter of Aclazotz, and a Bloodthirster in play, and you swing the farm at opponent 1. Then you swing and connect with opponent 2 and opponent 3 with Bloodthirster. Opponent 1 could take a total of 14 damage from that swing, with the other 2 players taking 6 each. But thanks to Bloodletter's ability, opponent 1 takes 28 damage, while the other 2 opponents would take 12 damage each. That's just insane. This will force your opponents to maybe block in an inefficient way, and it makes cards like Bloodthirster, Keen Duelist, and Sower of Discord just that much more dangerous. The fact that this amazing ability is slapped on a flying demon makes it the perfect card to threaten our opponents through combat damage with very little investment. Lastly, my favorite card that you should definitely play in your Rakdos deck, Archfiend of Despair, an 8-mana 6/6 flyer with your opponents can't gain life. And at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. Now, if you're new to the channel, you may not know this, but one of my absolute favorite cards is Wound Reflection. And Archfiend of Despair is Wound Reflection on a 6/6 flying body that also makes our opponents unable to gain life. And oh yeah, we're probably only going to cast it for 2 black mana thanks to Rakdos. This card just does so much work. First off, it triggers at each end step, meaning if your opponents deal damage to each other, this will trigger at the next end step, effectively doubling that damage. Take the same scenario again with Keen Duelist and Rakdos in play, revealing Sower of Discord this time, dealing 6 damage to opponent 1, then drawing and playing Sower of Discord, choosing opponent 1 and opponent 2 with its ETB. You then play out Bloodthirster, Herald of Slaanesh, and finally Archfiend of Despair, all for only 6 mana. You swing everything but Keen Duelist and Herald of Slaanesh at opponent 1. You deal a whopping 24 damage to opponent 1, assuming it all goes through. Now, due to Sower of Discord's triggered ability, opponent 2 also takes 24 damage. Now Bloodthirster untaps and can attack opponent 2, effectively dealing 6 more damage to opponent 1 through Sower of Discord's ability, and finally attacking opponent 3 for 6 damage. That's already an impressive turn and a ton of damage, but it's the end step, and Big Daddy Archfiend of Despair will trigger, causing each opponent to lose life equal to the life they lost this turn. That means opponents 1 and 2 will lose another 30 life, and opponent 3 another 6 life. That is absolute chaos, insanity, Wound Reflection-esque shenanigans, and I freaking love it. Archfiend of Despair fits so perfectly in Rakdos that despite whether you're playing a demon deck or not, it deserves a spot in your build. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching another Commander Spotlight. A big thank you to my community for selecting this awesome commander, and if you want to be part of the Commander MTG community, consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you. As always, if you like these cards and you're now wanting to play Rakdos Lord of Riots, then smash that like button and comment the cards you would play in this deck down below. Have fun playing huge demons, making deals, and smashing your opponents. I'm Jason, this is the Commander, signing off.